while now. I think we're back in the room. Fingers crossed we can pick up back where we left off. So, apologies for that, folks. That was pretty much a pain in the bum. But yeah, we're back in the room. Oh my God, what are you doing? Why? Right, okay. Last check, 2025. That's the time, not the year, because that would be annoying. Checking for updates. And I think we're back in the room. So while you were gone, I had to finish off the model that I was currently painting, because it, if I'd have started to let it dry out on there, that would have been a bad thing. So yeah, I think we appear to be in a better place as far as the stream goes. We don't appear to be lagging so much. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're all good to go. We do have Windows Update doing its thing in the background, but that's just because it's a spazzy Windows thing that you can't control when it does anything it wants to. Queen of Sabotage, you found your way back to the chat. Excellent, thank you very much. I do apologise for the technical difficulties, but yeah, it's good that you found your way back, even if you're now heading off. So yep, same here, I do as well. I'm absolutely shattered today, so yeah, don't blame you. Get a good night's sleep and back off to work in the morning. Right, see you next time. Thank you very much for stopping by, it's very much appreciated. Right, let's get that. There we go. So these are our tools. I'm really quite pleased with how this this sort of washed out white tones look at the ones that are starting to dry over in the corner there. So I will grab one of those and show you this. We've also still got our Strad, Count Strad Gonzalevich, sat there on the desk, ready to pick up and run. These zombies. So the other day we finished our zombies. Now we've got these ghouls, and I thought to break up the bit of a run on undead that we were having, I was going to fish out something, another slight big guy. Yeah, I've got this one, which is quite a, I mean, it's quite a basic figure, but you know, it's cool enough. But the big guy that I was talking about, this is from the Trials of Tempest box game. Really nice board game, this one. The figures that came with this are a cut above the older board games. They are some of the nicest D&D figures that I've actually seen. Yeah, I say nicest D&D, barring 3D printed stuff, obviously. Or rather, some of the nicest stuff I've seen from Wizards of the Coast. Right. Not familiar with the Strad from 92. I'll have to see if I can have a look at that one at some point. Nearly done here. But yeah, so we've had a bit of an undead session going on, and I'm getting a little bit tired of undead, so I figured, yeah, we'll break out an ogre for the next big guy. I like to try and keep it fairly mixed up on the channel so that we can we'll have a sort of a big guy to keep us busy while we've got some of the little ones, almost like in the sort of character versus squads thing from Warhammer. You reward yourself with being able to make a character by being able to throw something down with a bit of a challenge rate above 1. Okay, so as I said, we've got a couple of guys. That's the first one, right? Obviously, I'm going to go back and redo his eyes, but that was over Fyreslayer flesh. We've added the white, and it's created quite a nice washed out tone. So you're now seeing ads. If my ad monitor thing is working. Okay, just having a look on the interwebs for a Strahd miniature from 1992. Yeah, I'm just having a look. I can't find a picture of it. Yeah, you'll have to take your own photo. I mean, obviously, I know Strahd has been around for a long while. Oh, really? Because Grenadier is old. It's a firm that's been around for a long time. Okay. Fair enough. Well, I did try to have a look, but you know, so vintage D&D minis, or are we talking vintage everything minis? Because I'm quite a big fan of older editions of Warhammer and Warhammer 40k. Ralpatha and Grenadier were a little bit before my time. I like to collect stuff from since I've been in the hobbies, basically. And unfortunately, Ralpatha and Grenadier basically they were almost disappeared when I joined the hobby. they were just sort of almost sort of lingering in their death throes, as it were, which is a bit of a shame because some of the miniatures that they produced were absolutely stunning. But you know, that is the way of things. Games Workshop came along and gobbled it all up. Just trying to work out what one. There's quite a lot. It's quite busy. So I'm gonna sort of, in effect, budget. Grab that link. I'm not going to buy it, obviously. Oh, okay. That's sort of business casual, Strahd. I like it. Like vampire in a suit. What's not to like about a vampire in a suit? And it's very much more the the sort of old style of thing where sorry, yeah, no, that's really cool. I like that a lot. I might have to see if I can fish one out. I found quite yeah, please. I've found quite a lot of mileage in these older miniatures. They've been really, really nice, and for what I need, essentially, all I need miniatures for is a token so that my players can know where they are on the map. Because as we've sort of developed our gameplay, we've moved on a little bit from Theatre of the Mind, which I do still try and make good use of where I can, because I think it's a real boom to your characters if they can go ahead and not need miniatures. But sometimes, you know, complicated combats, it's my head that needs the help, not my players, and so miniatures are a real boom to that. They really, really work. So these board game miniatures are fantastic, as long as you don't need more than 3 of them. When it starts to be big fights, then you're kind of shit out of luck, because most of those sets came with the miniatures in 3s. Right, we are looking at an ogre. This is, I mean, I could paint Shrek, but I think I won't. After all, I did paint my Iron Golem as Iron Man Golem, so yeah. I don't think I'm gonna. That would be wrong. I mean, right on so many levels, but wrong on all levels. So, quite just a beautifully simple model, to be honest. We've done all of this before. We've got leather and cloth, leather and cloth, leather and cloth, leather and cloth. A little bit of leather on this thong around his neck, and I don't know what has got on the necklace, but we'll figure something out, and then we'll try something out on the club. But it's mostly that would be why you're not hearing everything, unfortunately. It's because I'm an idiot and I moved my mic the other day to clear it out of the way. So yes, that's better. Thank you very much for my audio check. Next time on technical difficulties. Thank you. Well, I mean, it should be, because it's now in front of my face rather than up there above my head. No, I'm well overdue some technical difficulties, to be honest. I am stringing the whole stream thing along on quite archaic technology now. I really do need to look at upgrading some things, and everything has been sort of done a little bit on the cheap or on the fast. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sweat it, but thank you very much for pointing it out, and that's thankfully an easily solved problem. Right, now after my little flesh experiment on the ghouls the other day, I think I've decided that I like Guilliman flesh the best. It gives a nice sort of quite mellow texture. It's not too tanned, which is good. Although, as I said, it is a bit weird that for contrast paints, out of the 3 flesh colours that they did, all of them are white guys. Which I get it, you know, you can paint flesh any colour, but the ones that they actually labelled as flesh are all white flesh. No, I did say I wasn't going to go into this subject of accusing Games Workshop of terrible racism in their contrast paints range. Honestly, I'm not suggesting that. It's I just find it quite funny, really. A company that is actually very inclusive, that have made massive strides to eliminate some of their more problematic models in history. Yeah, I don't think anyone is ever going to forget the Pygmies. But they have made real efforts to change their ways over the years. Let's face it, back then there wasn't the drive for diversity like there is now. But it just feels like somebody dropped the ball when they made 3 flesh tones as part of the contrast range, and all of them are white. I suppose I'm missing it. If you put on multiple coats, then Roboute Guilliman can be whatever colour you want him to be, can't he? Okay, this actually appears to be coming up quite a lot darker than it did on the ghoul. Oh well, maybe I shook it more this time. And that belly is going to look terrible, as contrast paint is a bit of a bugger when it comes to sort of bigger open areas like that. Now, for his little mutton chop beard that he's got going on here, I'm actually going to go all over it with the flesh tone, because it is quite scraggly beard, and I think we can dress that up with a bit of some hair colour later on. Yeah, that'll go all right. Right, there we go. Bit of face done. Don't know what colour eyes ogres are supposed to have, but I'm assuming it's sort of, they are just essentially sort of abhumans, aren't they? In terms of what you know, if this was Games Workshop, then they would be termed as abhumans. In D&D, I don't know. They're just big ass humanoids, aren't they? How do you mean by assembly? As in sort of Games Workshop style assemble and paint miniatures, or to be honest, assembly is probably my least favourite part of the hobby. I've been incredibly guilty over the years of I've actually bought pre-made armies on eBay just because I hate assembling plastic sprues of figures. My plan is to, after I've finished some of these, I am painting the D&D figures for a reason, is that I am relatively new to DMing and I want to have a good collection of monsters, characters, all sorts of stuff that I can put on the table for my players. Once I've got that collection done, which in the scheme of things is a collection that will probably never be finished. It will always be, oh look, so and so's available, I'll pick that up and then add that to the collection. But once my current crop is done, the plan is to move on to some Games Workshop, but it's older second edition Games Workshop 40k, because I have a huge collection of it that's been waiting 30 years for. I can imagine the collection never stops. There's always another monster that you want to put in front of your players. But yes, I've got a large collection of old Warhammer that I plan on putting together and painting on stream. That's where we go from here, essentially. Now, whether or not I chance my arm at painting those with contrast paints, I don't know. I think some of them would work extremely well, like my collection of Eldar, I think would work extremely well with contrast paints, because the armor lends itself very, very nicely to that contrast action. However, like the Chaos Space Marine army that I recently upgraded, I think would work less well. Although I have got some plans, some ideas about how to do that one. I'd like to do a Night Lord's army, which is quite technical, but I think that there is a way to do it with contrast paints that most people will probably consider me a heathen for. As I said, that belly is going to have a little bit of coffee staining on it. As anticipated, it's going to be. The heels are cloth. There's cloth on the heels. I suppose I could... No, that looks fairly well clothed, to be honest with you. I'm going to leave them. Right. Okay. Sorry, I have had quite a few messages regarding the truck, so just bear with me a moment. That's priorities. I need to... Oh, bloody hell. Don't understand why people can't get the "is this still available" out of their head. If you can see it, it's still available. I think this will... a contact number? No. Oh dear. I think this will be the last time that I ever sell something on Facebook Marketplace, because it is just absolutely such a painful experience trying to sell it on Marketplace that I just don't want to do it anymore. In fact, no, I'm not tempted to not sell it, because I do really want the vehicle that I've got lined up. But it is just so frustrating trying to do anything with yeah, it's just absolutely terrible trying to do anything on Facebook Marketplace. It's just such a revolting atmosphere. Oh my god. Here we go. Now they're all messaging. And I love the message of, what's the last price? Well, what's it listed for, dude? And they tell you exactly what it's listed for, and you go, well, there you go then. Right. We've got some little bits of leather to do on Strahd's booties and on the bit on his the scabbard on his back. Can't actually see anything more on that leg, so I'm going to just stick with this one here and keep that as is. Go. Works. Then we've got loads and loads of belts and straps and other lovely bondage all over his chest. I actually think that the old business casual Strad is looks better than this one, to be fair. This one's very much a I'm going to war vampire, and I think they're a bit more subtle than that. I'm not going to paint that sheath in the same colour. I'm going to do that in a different colour, just so that we break it up a little bit. The rest of this strapping and what have you, I am going to do in the same leather colour, just not that little bit. Now, where does that go? That goes over his shoulder, I think. Okay, that sort of works. There's definitely something going on with a strap there. But it's not quite as simple as all that. And then I'll paint this scabbard in on the back here. Okay. Don't think we need to go overly any more detail on there. I will find another brown colour for his the scabbard on his chest though. And we will find lots of use for our lovely Agrax Earthshade as well. Now let me just answer all of these messages again. Oh, endless, just ridiculous messages as well. So yeah, hopefully I'll never have to do it again. Now let's have a look. How are we doing? So we are an hour in, even though our stream counter says otherwise, because of our silly technical difficulties. So we have an opportunity to get a little bit more done. I should have painted the pommel on his sword as well. That's a bit disappointing that I forgot to do that. Okay, I'm going to let him sit to one side and dry just for a moment, and then we are going to paint our lovely ghouls here. Now, as I always do, I've got 3 of these guys, so I like to do something a little bit different, and the way that I find best to do these is to change up the colours on the trousers. Although I have done different skin tones on each of them, but I think that's going to be a little bit too hard to notice. So we'll go with different coloured trousers. Now, I find green is a good one. Blue is a good one. And I like to go for... I do often like to do them in Achelion, but it's a bit too overpowered, to be fair. And I think maybe for these guys, we'll go with quite a dark brown. So blue, green and brown for their trousers. The brown, I think, will go on our lightest boy, which is... well, those two are virtually the same now. One of those is Dark Oath and one of those is Guilliman. And I'm pretty sure that's Guilliman and that's Dark Oath. Guilliman will get the brown, Dark Oath will get the green, and this guy here is getting Pterodon Turquoise for his trousers. Just to sort of signal him out as the boss, maybe. Such a lovely colour. Got quite a wet paintbrush though, so I just need to wick some of that away. This is probably not the average colour that you would imagine your everyday ghoul is going to be wearing down at the graveyard disco. But you know, maybe he's having a snazzy day or something. Maybe he found an extra pair of pants from a crypt or something, because that is a fantastic colour. Look at that. That looks brilliant, doesn't it? And then we'll just it in round here without trying not to get any on the wrong side of that loincloth that he's got going on. Right. I feel like trousers like these should probably have stripes down the side and maybe a tick on them somewhere. Right, excellent. That's one down. So all we've got left on these guys is a little bit of Plague Bearer flesh on these arms, and I will just give them little red dot eyes, I think. And the mouths. Now, all of my monsters get a lovely purple colour in their mouth, and then we pick out the teeth as best as we can. And that actually seems to work quite well. Gives us quite a bit of character as far as these models go. So yeah, right, next one on the list is dude with green. Right, and we'll just come along and do the same thing on this one. That's how these models work. They're three identical models, and we're just varying them up a little bit with the colours, which does help to create a little bit of difference on the battlefield. And it also gives me the opportunity to sort of pick them out as possibly a leader or a variant of a monster, which is quite nice for your players if they can go, oh, which one is the one that's casting the spell, and you go, oh, the one with the green trousers. Not that our ghouls are likely to be casting spells on the players, but you know, the theory works for many different models, some of which will be casting spells. Okay. Right, now once we've got these done, that actually leaves us loads of time. I thought we were running out there. some of the details are actually a lot. There's a lot more sculpted on these than at first thought. It's, you know, they're very, very simple models, but there is detail there to actually pick out. It's just finding the time to actually do it. Right, that's 2 of them, and we've got one last, which is going to be of a very dark brown, very dark brown trousers. So, when I moved my mic, I knocked my camera out of the way, so. This guy said, that's too much money for me. I don't have that much money. Oh, there we go. Right. So now we're going to go with, this is a really dark brown. This might actually be a bit too much, a bit too overpowering. If it is, what I'll probably do is I'll use something like a Zandri dust, and I might actually paint that on rather than just dry brush it, in order to try and give us some texture back. Look at that. Look at that. That's the forbidden chocolate in there. That is. Yummy. Although it is a very, very dark colour, it goes on much, much more like a traditional paint than a contrast paint. I don't know if it's not the case with all of the dark colours. The Wildwood is a very dark colour, and that goes on beautifully, but this goes on much more just like quite a thin, very high opacity paint. I don't often see it wicking like the other contrast paints normally do. Which is why I was a little bit worried about using it. Not enough to not use it, but just make it a little bit more interesting to actually use it. I suppose it might be because it's a very dark colour that I'm a bit scared to put too much of it on the brush, because whatever it touches, it's going to obliterate if I put too much of it on. And therefore, if you don't put enough of it on, it doesn't have enough material to do the contrast trick. Because that's all it is. It's sort of, because it's a lot more thinner viscosity, it wicks into all of the low down areas and draws itself away. Oh well, that's coming out quite nice, so I don't think we'll have to do any extra steps on this one. It's just going to be a pair of brown trousers, you know, for those days when you're a little bit worried that you might shit yourself. These are the sort of trousers that you wear, aren't they? Was that when Napoleon was being told about why the English wear red shirt, you know, red jackets to hide the blood stains, and he said, ah yes, that is why I always keep my brown trousers on board. I'm sure that's not actually what happened, but you know, I doubt anybody was there who's going to be able to correct me. So right, there we go, that's trousers done. We need to do the arms in their hands and their mouths, their eyes. God, there's quite a lot still left to do on them, isn't there? Okay, I'll tell you what, while we have got it here, shall we use that brown on? Yeah, let's do that. Tiny bit of it, and just paint that on. Yeah, when you get it enough of it and it's a little bit thinner, it works a lot better. I wonder if because they did change the contrast range after release, I wonder if some of them were maybe formulated a little bit wrong, because like I say, that just comes out as like a very thin brown paint. There's no, it doesn't feel like it's doing the same contrast action as a lot of them. Okay. For the rotting arms that our ghouls are eating, we're just going to go with straight up Plague Bearer flesh. There's no need to mess around with these ones too much. We're just going to pop that on there. I really do feel that the white effect that we put over the skin has worked wonders on these guys. It's a bit weird because it's kind of the opposite of what you would hope, because obviously now these ones have pooling in the recesses rather than so the lightest colours are in the recesses rather than the other way around, but I think that gives them that sort of otherworldly kind of look, which is quite nice. Right, no real need for detail here. This is a dismembered, rotting arm. I know that bit's his thumb, actually, but so we are just going to paint it as such. There's no real need to go in there with any detail, any reds or anything. It is just literally he's eating a rotting arm, probably sucking the marrow out of it like a good boy. Well, I mean, it happens to the best of us. What can you do, eh? It's even worse when you learn that some bloody ghoul has come along and is nibbling on it like a snack, just chewing the old marrow. There I was, minding my own business, dead, and suddenly along come this ghoul and eat my arm. Yeah, it's just unbelievable, isn't it? Kids these days. Nice and simple. That matches his trousers, which is excellent. That's certainly the effect that I was not planning to go for, but it's what I have. Oh, bloody hell. That was unexpected. AWOL Trooper, thank you very much for dropping by. At some point, I will go right ahead and get some chat commands for things like shout-outs sorted. Thank you for dropping by. I really appreciate it. I do hope you have a lovely stream, and I hope your eBay bid proves wonderful. I don't know what you were bidding on, but congratulations for it anyway. Yeah, I am still learning the ropes, and I will get round to it at some point. But yeah, by all means, if I need to, I will take you up on it. And yeah, thank you very much for dropping by. "12-inch vinyl figure to a trio of original series vinyl." Wow. Okay. I've never really got into the vinyl figures thing, and I feel that collecting another hobby might be frowned upon. So whilst it sounds really cool, and I do love the original series and what have you, I will probably pass on that. And well, there you go. Mine wouldn't actually know what TOS was, so. Well, I wish you the best with it. I hope it all arrives safely, and you take care until the next time. Have fun. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Oh, it's quite warm in here though this evening, so I'm gonna roll my sleeves up for this last little bit. Right, what have we got left to do on Strahd? We have some scabbard work, a lot of black. We've got hair and his robes there to do in black, and I must try and get some black in there and between his legs, because that would be all too easy to miss. Actually, his robes have this kind of cool little design on there, which I might come back along afterwards and pick out in white. Cool. Right. Oh, God. Well, that's the second time we've spilt a contrast paint. Thankfully, we were using a palette this time, but we have still made a colossal mess. Excellent. Right, I am just going to go and grab some kitchen roll. So this is the day for it. Is there any way to recover that? Okay. I have a little funnel, the original pot. Don't do that here. I must go. Right. I need to try and save a little bit of this if I can. please do bear with me, and I'll be back with you in just a moment. Right, well, sorry about that, folks. That was rather silly of me, but unbelievably, that was not a complete disaster, and we have actually managed to, with the clever use of a mini funnel that I was using for decanting paint into other containers, dropper bottles, we have actually managed to save a good amount of the black, which is excellent, because I do hate waste, and ending up with a big, so this, I don't know if you can see how deep they are, but they're fairly deep trays. That one there was completely full of the Black Templar contrast black. I'm going to keep that little funnel handy for the next time it happens, because as we all know, if it happens once, it will happen again. That's how they get you. Ah, and now I've got water everywhere, so that's a grand old time. So let's see, how's it gone today? It's gone with technical difficulties with the stream to start off with. It's gone to forgetting to put your mic down after you moved it, because you're a big Norbert, and then spilling another pot of contrast paint. Thankfully, this time round, it was not an absolute disaster. If I just cut myself. Right, so we're back where we were before, which is good. So Strahd is obviously a vampire, and as we all know, vampires have jet black hair. Is that right? But yeah, this one is getting jet black hair anyway. You know, I might actually come back later on and give him a white streak, because I feel like he might need something to mark him out as a special boy. Oh, there we go. That's nice and done on him. Okay, so this guy is the sort of head vampire from, I believe he was originally in the Castle Ravenloft module. Was that? Because that was quite early on, I believe. I don't know, don't ask me when, I do not know. I'm a big fan of D&D and what have you, but I must profess that I do not have knowledge of before a couple of years ago, because that's really when I got into the hobby. It had always been on my radar as something that I really wanted to do. You know how sometimes a hobby is either so well established, or it feels like its time is over, that it's had its time. That's how I felt with D&D up until a few years ago, when somebody said, oh, I would love to play D&D. And I'm like, well, why don't we then? Yeah, but you've got to find somebody to DM it, and you've got to find this, and I said, I'll do that. I was like, okay. And that was it. We've then been sort of organising our own groups. I've joined a campaign separately, because it's not dead. It's still an alive and well and kicking hobby. And I'm like, oh shit, that's... I really wish I'd have joined it sooner. I don't know why. There was something about the hobby before. I don't think it was Stranger Things. I mean, yeah, it could have been. I think, to be honest, it wasn't Stranger Things for me, but I think it might have been for some other people. I mean, I wanted to do D&D for a long time, but it was always one of those things of, where do you find a group to do it? Where do you find a DM? Where do you find this? Where do you find that? And in the end, the answer is just do it yourself, which is kind of a good answer, really. Just go out there, buy the starter set, run the starter set. You'll pick up everything you need to know. And if you want extra stuff, that's there for when you get to it. And oh my God, is there so much extra stuff. And I love the extra stuff. The lore and the background for me is just something else. It's fantastic. We've nearly finished Strahd, look. That suddenly, with that black cloak, he has taken on a proper look. Look at that. Oh. Yeah. Seribot doing its level best to cope with the ban evaders. The ban evaders makes them sound a lot cooler than they actually are. You big bot, you. But yeah, I'll tell you what, Seri is quite weird to me still. The fact that we have bots fighting bots. Sorry guys, let me just answer another message. Oh, there we go. Yeah, again, more wonderful messages from people. Oh, has it? Sorry, folks. Oh, there we go. Right, another message answered. I don't know. Is it wrong to point out that all of the people who are interested in buying the truck appear appear to be Bogdans or Vlads, or is it wrong to point that out? I don't know. I don't understand why that is a thing though. What colour was I doing my? I was doing my mouths in Volupus pink. In fact, I think we can paint the ogre mouth in that as well. Perhaps it's just the truck that I'm selling appeals to them. Right, I'm going to switch to a small brush for this, just so that we don't go too mad, because we're actually into quite small areas now. Bit of pink. Go. Don't know whether I should be trying to do any of this like gristle from the dismembered arm that he's chewing on in this pink, but currently I think I'm just going to stick to his mouth. There's 1, 2, and finally 3, and then we have our ogre to do as well. Yeah, maybe. Should we liven it up? Oh, look at that! Bit of gristle. Did you literally just pop back for that? I'm not going to do anything more with that bristle. It's literally just something to give the impression of it there. Go. And then I can't put him on a painting stand because I don't have one big enough. I might actually look at investing in the larger one, because some of these larger models really would benefit from it. I could keep my hands out of him, you know, holding on to him. There's a couple of times with these models I have just, you know, picked them up to do the next colour, and then it's like, oh, for God's sakes, I just put my hand in a big pile of paint on him. So maybe I should get the next size up painting handle. Weirdly enough, the painting handles are one of the only things from Games Workshop, you know, hobby tool wise, that I don't think are utter rip-offs. Because they're quite good value for what they are. You know, they are a useful tool to hold the model and what have you. And I think they're actually quite cheap. I'm certainly sure I picked this one up for like £5 or £6, something like that. And it is a genuine Citadel one. And that mechanism there is actually quite sensible. I don't know what they do. Is it a rubber band or a spring or something? But it's quite a sensible mechanism. I did buy another one, which was it had a clip here, like a peg, and you opened it up, and then you put your model in it, and it closed down on him. But then you had to lock it in place with the handle bit up here. So it had a a thing that you could hold and you weren't contacting the model. But it just fell apart. It was a 3D printed thing that I bought off of eBay or something like that, and it just fell apart. It was just no good. And I was like, oh. And then the other week I thought, oh, you know what? I say the other week, I've had this for months now. I thought, yeah, do you know what? I'm gonna buy one of them, and it's just quite a naturally good product. So there we go, Citadel. If you want to pay me some money for sponsorship, then by all means. But no, I do genuinely, I quite like that. I think that's quite a good tool to have. Right. I need to do some ghoul eyes. And I think ghoul eyes can be in red, because we like a bit of red. Red for eyes, anyway. I do find contrast paints to be surprisingly good for painting eyes. I think it must just be the texture that it runs out. Well, he's got one eye that's certainly bigger than the other, but that'll do. Not really perfect, but they do actually have extremely tiny eyes in there. They are very tinily moulded detail for the eyes. As long as they look vaguely the same size and shape, I'm not going to worry about them too much. One look bigger. How does it look on stream? Weirdly enough, I think viewing it on stream is better than trying to view that with my eyes. That's kind of worrying, isn't it? Would you be worried if that was your eyes? No, because they're my eyes and you don't care. Enlarge that one a little bit, and then this one. What have we done here? We need to bring you that. That's better. That's better. Right. Okay. We want ogre eyes in red as well. I think we should. I think we should go for red ogre eyes as well. Because anything monstrous is going to have red eyes, isn't it? What about Strahd? Would Strahd have red eyes? I think he might. Let's just dot them in while we're there. Oh, you can sense the bloodlust in him. Right, we are very, very near to the end of the stream now, folks. 10 o'clock is my stop time. I've got just enough time, I think, to paint the teeth of our ghoulish ghouls, and possibly Strahd as well. So, I'm going to see what happens this week. I'm going to do a good review of, again, as I say, the days that we are streaming, because I do want to actually cut down on the time that I spend streaming. I'm currently doing more. Well, that's awful, isn't it? More than I want to. And it feels less efficient than I want it to be. So we are going to cut down slightly on the number of days that we stream. Those teeth have come out quite well, to be fair. That is very tiny. Very, very, very tiny. One, two, and finally, just pop this one on here for 3. God, that is properly. What's happened to my paint? Better. Oh, nearly. Go. Now, finally, we have Strahd. This is normally one of the last steps that I do, but because I've got the white out, I'm just going to put these in. Good Lord, that is tiny, tiny teeth there. 1, 2. All that we need to show is just those 2 tiny, tiny teeth there. As you can see, God, that is making my eyes hurt to get that close in. So I'm not going to do any more detail than that. I will just put a tiny little bit of white on the very tip of his nose, just because I can. Do you know what? I'm also going to put a tiny, tiny streak of... No? I'm going to put a tiny, tiny streak of white in his hair. Just because... he's a vampire. And it's a sort of classy thing to have, is a bit of a streak of white in your hair, isn't it? There you go. I think that's a nice little detail on him, actually. Just to liven him up a little bit. Otherwise he looks... Oh, hang on. I did say that I was going to maybe... I think these little designs on the bottom of his cloak. But now that I think about it, I don't want to. That's just a bit of a step too far. So I'm gonna pop him to one side now. The ghouls are done. Let's have a look at our little family of ghouls here. And this is not quite... This is nearly our... this is nearly our undead faction done. We've still got a few left to do. I've got a couple of hags. Although hags aren't specifically undead, are they? So we've got Huey, Dewey and Louie, the 3 ghouls there, looking resplendent in their 3 different coloured trousers. They are actually 3 different coloured skin tones as well, but what I've done is, so we've got the 3 contrast paint flesh tones there, and then I've gone over all of them with the contrast white to try and make it look like these are people who spend all night locked up in crypts and all night spend all day locked up in crypts and all night feasting on the flesh of the dead, because they're ghouls. So we've got those guys done. Strahd himself requires mostly a little bit of Agrax Earthshade, and he's going to be done as well. And we've made a bit of a start on our ogre. I'm not terribly happy with the way the flesh on this guy has come out, because obviously there are some quite large areas, some quite large plain areas, which is something that contrast really struggles with. So we've got a bit of this, what we call, or I call it probably because that's what it's called, this sort of coffee staining, where you can really see the way the contrast has sat on the model. So what I'm going to have to do, I think, is to come along and do a nice bit of flesh tone work on this guy, which will be a bit of a shock to the system, to get the old brushes out and do proper painting for once. But there's some quite nice muscular and what have you to work with on that model, so I'm sure we'll have a bit of a good time on the next session. Speaking of which, the next session will be tomorrow at 8 o'clock UK time. We are live on Twitch and YouTube. Please catch me on Twitch though, because that's the one I've just monetized. So, you know, you guys coming here and watching me is a massive thank you. Basically, I really appreciate everybody who drops by the stream. On that note, take care till next time. Toodaloo. Thank you guys.